I know a lot of you out there are still trying to figure out, why do I have this condition? Why is this still lasting so long? I get daily messages from a lot of you, and I have to tell you, I am glad to hear from all of you, but of course, my main focus is to try to help you guys feel better out there. Constantly, you're feeling the swishing sounds in your ears, the clicking sounds, you're feeling dizzy. These are all very normal symptoms and side effects from this condition. And that condition is eustachian tube dysfunction, and I'm going to throw tinnitus in there, and I'm also going to throw patulous eustachian tube disorder, even though there's very little of you dealing with that often, and TMJ. Now, TMJ is something that I talk about probably pretty often as eustachian tube dysfunction, and some of you might ask, why is that? Because they're so intertwined. The messages that I'm getting from you all out there are asking things like, is this a sign that I'm getting better? I'm having less discomfort, but I'm still hearing the swishing sounds. Is this means that it's about to be over with? Well, I wish I had the direct answer for all of you, but I will tell you this. It's a good sign that you're feeling improvement. Trust me, it's always a good sign. It might not be gone, but it's a good sign that you're feeling some improvement. This video today is to basically touch base with all of you out there. I haven't really connected all of you face to face. I've been using my animation and just audio footage and using my voice a lot of the times. But this video, I really wanted to connect because I felt like it's been a long time since I've done a video where I've actually had to, was basically connecting with you guys with my face for once. So I feel very good doing these videos. Unfortunately, it's just a little challenging doing them because of my day-to-day hustle and schedule. It's hard to find time just to sit down and have this discussion peacefully. So I wanted to tell all of you out there that it's going to feel like that the condition you feel is going to feel like it's lingering. When I was dealing with this problem, and I always use myself as an example, so that way you can kind of use my example into what you're dealing with. What happened was, let's say I had 5 symptoms that were mostly bothering me, and I'll tell you what all 5 of those are right now. Tension in the neck, tension in the jaw, swishing sounds in the jaw, lots of equilibrium, dizzy problems, and then also visual problems as well. I don't really talk about that one as much, but it was definitely there. The reason being is that if you start with 5 to 6 problems that this condition is giving you, or even 3 problems, and slowly you start to just feel it fading, but it's not going, this is something to celebrate. It really is. You can't just wake up and it's gone. That's what I want to tell a lot of you today. And this video is really to just give you guys a touch base, kind of let you know that you're on the mend. You're in that healing phase, and it's okay for it to go slow. This condition, which is very misdiagnosed, very unknown, not very well prepared, I would say in my opinion, in the medical world for people, but I will tell you, it's a very slow fading condition. It takes a lot of time to actually go away, and you all are doing what you should be doing, aiming for the top, aiming for where you were, aiming for complete elimination. But unfortunately, when you're deep into this condition, it's going to take a little bit of time, and I'm going to give you a lot of action steps, and some of this might sound like repeats, but I'm going to give you guys a lot of action steps on how to keep it going, keep the momentum of healing going, because I feel that a lot of you wake up in the morning and you feel like you still feel something wrong. It may be better than 3 days ago, it may even be better than last month, but you still feel like it's not where it should be, and you're classifying that maybe as like a failure, or you're classifying that as an unsuccessful day. But really what I want to tell you is this is normal. This condition has a tendency of again slowly streaming itself out of you, out of the problem areas that you're dealing with. It takes time. You may have a headache, and you may have a lot of discomfort in your jaw one day, and then the next day you just have sounds, like you may have ringing in the ears, you may have the swooshing sounds, which is something I constantly hear about. So that's on the rise. I have to do more videos on the swooshing sounds and why it is and things like that, but don't classify your healing as unsuccessful because you feel something. And I just want to let you know, before mine was completely gone, it took a little bit of time actually for it to all be away. Let's think about this. This condition is primarily a mental problem in some way, because what happens is it's not so much that you're physically incapable of moving on, it's you're mentally incapable, you're emotionally incapable. And what I mean by incapable is, it doesn't mean that you can't move on with your day, it's just tough to do so. You feel it, you embody it, you think about it all the time, because you're wondering, why can't I just take an inflammatory and have this thing just be away already? How come I can't take some steroid drops or do some stretching and have it just be gone? But unfortunately, what you're not being told in a doctor's office is that that's not how this thing works. It's one of those things that it's like building muscle. It's like you're not gonna go lift weights for 3 hours one day and then you wake up the next day and you look like a bodybuilder or anything. It's slow progressing. And so I don't want you all to get kind of like in this state of disappointment and depression. And this is what caused my issues and my continual anxiety incidents, was that I didn't have anyone to really guide me through this. A lot of you probably have mentioned, why didn't you join the groups? Why didn't you get into these groups now? And I've always stated this before. I created my own group because I feel like I can maybe give some light on this as well. Which, by the way, I will leave the link in the description of the group that you can join. It's not just Eustachian tube dysfunction. I'm okay if you're in there for tinnitus or anything related to the ears. Actually, if you're sharing good knowledge, there's a lot of you out there that are sharing my videos. Thank you so much. That's perfect. If you want to share other videos of other creators into my group, I'm not one of those people that blocks people and kicks them out because they want to share knowledge. I'm okay with that. But going back to what I was saying, when I was dealing with this myself, I didn't really have that person that can really guide me from the beginning stages to the end. So I was always thinking I was nowhere close. It's like it's like going in that foot race and you don't really know where the finish line is. You're just running indefinitely and hoping it shows up. You see that checkered flag somewhere, or that, and it's like, you don't know. So I want to tell you, to shed a little light, is if I had to really give it a percentage, I will say half. I'll say even a little bit more than half. A little more than half of this condition is really how you're feeling up here. Are you going to let every day that you don't feel 100% just completely bombard your overall outlook and your overall growth that you have made? Or are you going to take the little scraps of good and a little bit of this and a little improvement there and make it one big thing, one big celebration? And that's what I want to tell people constantly, is that you're not going to wake up one day 100%, most likely. There may be one or two cases that you do, but I'm going to say that most of the time, for those of you who are deep into this condition and have been in this condition, it's more considered chronically in this condition, is that you're not going to wake up and just suddenly be rid of all your problems, all your symptoms, everything that you've been dealing with for months, weeks, maybe even years. It's, again, a process that takes time. And so what I wanted to do is get into a little bit of things. Some of this may be like teachers always tell you, some of this may be recap for those that are not aware of this, and their first time here, first time clicking on the video. I'm just going to give you a few little things, and if some of you have already heard this, bear with me. Some of it might be repeated, but a lot of it might not be, so just kind of stick with me here. What you want to do, and I think I've said this in a few other videos as well, what you want to do is, number one, is you want to make sure to just kind of recap what I just said. You want to not take every day as a loss because you don't feel what you used to feel. It's okay. It takes time. Number two, you want to make sure that if you have triggers, because a lot of us know what our triggers are. We're very educated people when it comes to our body. We're the professional of our own body. Not even the doctor's going to know your body as well as you do. So if you know that there are triggers out there, some of us don't want to admit that. I was one of them. I knew coffee was my trigger, and yet I was like, I'll be fine. Because there were days where I would drink and, I would be really distracted on what I'm doing that day, and it actually didn't bother me as much. But then there would be those days where, I would drink my coffee, and I would feel horrible. My sleep would be not as good. I would be dehydrated. I would just not feel that great. So I knew what my triggers were, or trigger was. And I was kind of playing I'll be fine. The thing about it is, coffee may not have bothered you before. But when you have this condition or conditions, coffee may be the problem. It may be the trigger, because you're already hyperstimulated on the fact that you aren't healing. So when you're bringing that caffeine in, and I always say the caffeine in the coffee is different than caffeine in the soda. You're bringing in that caffeine, you're gonna start. It may trigger you a little. It may say, "Oh, wait." Reason being, this condition is it's proprietary to having a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of depression, a little bit of allergies, a little bit of sinus problems, sinusitis. It's a sprinkle of all those into one. You need to take care of all areas of those things I just named. Coffee may have not been a problem prior to having this condition. So when you're going about your day and you're just, and you're drinking that coffee, and let me tell you, coffee has a problem with it raises the blood pressure, increases the cortisol levels in your body. If you're already dealing with this problem, your cortisol levels may already be a little bit higher than usual. Your blood pressure may be higher than a little usual. And to really get over this problem, your blood pressure really needs to be on point. You need to have adequate blood flow going around. That's why I do the red light therapy, because it's keeping that blood flow going. When you're having issues in your ear, there's most likely a chance that there's inflammation in those ears or ear, and the blood flow has not adequately circulated in that area to help heal the inflammation, to help rid some of that congestion, the clogging, the fluid starting to build up. So when you're drinking coffee, you're disrupting your blood pressure, you're disrupting the inflammation, you're disrupting your mood, you're increasing cortisol levels, you're dehydrating yourself. All of these things that would not maybe have bothered you if you didn't have an ear condition. So that's why I say some of you have gotten messages, I've said messages like, "Oh, I don't have problems with caffeine, I don't have problems with coffee." I recommend you all reevaluate yourself post Eustachian tube dysfunction diagnosis, or tinnitus diagnosis, or PET diagnosis. Or TMJ, try to reevaluate yourself a little bit. So that's another thing. Watch your triggers, okay? Be aware of your triggers, because your triggers last year may not be your triggers today. So just keep that in mind. The other thing is, this is very important, this is extremely important, is that we have to devote our time, and I say this a lot, but I think it might not be as, how should I put it? It may not be as severe to others as I'm saying it, but posture is this extreme important factor. I cannot tell you. I was dealing with some neck tension last week. It's because I didn't stretch anything. I haven't stretched, and believe me, someone that gets on here and talks about it every day, believe me, I have my slip up days as well. And so I did not stretch for like 3 days. That's for my standard, that's pretty awful. And we're constantly doing things with our body. We don't realize it. We're holding our phones down. We're picking up our children. We're doing things at work. Some of us work outside, or some of us work, heavy lifting all the time. And we're not stretching anything. We're just going to bed, waking up, going to bed, waking up. Well, it's been 3.5 days. I didn't stretch my neck. I didn't stretch my arms, my shoulder, my back, all the stuff that Mr. Jaye Wellness is telling you to do. He is not himself is not doing it. I paid the price. Believe me, I started feeling tension in my neck. I started feeling tension in my side. Like when you have problems sometimes with your neck, it goes over through the base of the skull, travels all the way to the suboccipital region. It goes into the eye sockets. You feel it in your eyes, and it's awful. It lasts sometimes for 2 days. So that was my mistake. I knew what I should be doing, and I didn't do it. So I have to throw this out there, because I make those mistakes. You have to take time to stretch. You have to do it all the time. So that's why I stress so much on how important it is to just take time to stretch the neck. I have lots of videos on how to stretch the neck, what muscles to target. You really have to do your best to trigger these little things that can really pop up. We have a lot of knots in our shoulders, knots in the base of our skull here. And I can tell you, over time, it doesn't look like it's going to be a problem, but it becomes a problem later. So I know it can sound overwhelming. I'm always saying, hey, you need to hydrate, hydrate. So between drinking tons of water, tons of stretching, tons of this, tons of that, red light therapy. It can be kind of overwhelming, but just want to let you know, to kind of settle your mind and make you feel a little bit better, is that right now you're just in a protective mode. You're in a protective, extreme recovery mode, and that this behavior doesn't have to be something negative. It's not something that you have to do for the rest of your life. We're in a protection mode right now. If you're in this ETD mode, tinnitus mode, TMJ mode, you have to do these things so you can ultimately heal from this condition. Just know that you're kicking it up a notch because there's a reason. When there is a threat, security comes in and beefs up the amount of security. So whenever there's a threat or whenever there's a problem with the body, you have to kick it up a notch. You can't. The thing about it is, a lot of us love all you great people out there, and myself included. This is myself being thrown in here. We can be a little stubborn sometimes because life is already hard. So it's like now we have to add extra stuff. We have stuff in our life we have to deal with: our jobs, our kids, our pets, whatever it is. Now we have to do extra stuff for ourselves. It's challenging. So I want all of you to know that it's not going to be this way all the time. I thought that myself. I was like, I'm a new father. I can't spend so much time on myself, and believe it or not, we need to. We actually do need to, regardless if we're dealing with the condition or we're dealing with just day-to-day lifestyle. We need to take time for ourselves. I'm going to be kicking more videos out about being a little more selfish towards ourselves, because a lot of us, especially when we're dealing with something, we don't think we deserve this and that time, and we really do got to take time for our health. For all of you out there that are hustling all the time, you never really actually sit down and take care of yourself. So this video was really to just check in and talk to you all about what it is to feel the way that you do, why it's that way. Is it normal to be this way? It's totally normal to be this way. It's totally normal to feel like it's not going away. Again, it's like that little insect that just keeps bugging for a little bit until it finally goes away and finds another thing or someone to mess with. Just know that that doesn't equate to you being further along. And I have to say that, and I want that to go into your head, because you guys and ladies are like myself. You tend to relate how you feel with progress, and that might be normal with a headache. You know what I mean? Like that might be normal with the common cold. Like you're blowing your nose less, so you must be feeling better. So you don't really depress yourself having a cold, because you can see the tunnel widening up. You see the light peeking through with a common cold, because you're like, okay, I blew my nose 12 times less today. My eyes aren't as watery today. I can breathe. So you start saying, I'm doing pretty good. With Eustachian dysfunction, throw all that out the window, because you could be you can just feel better, but you still have symptoms. So you say, oh well, it's probably gonna last forever. So that is something I wanted to throw out there to you. I'm really happy you all decided to click this video and to join the Jaye Wellness Studio. I primarily always say we, because overall I'm the one producing the content, but it's all of you out there who are needing the help, who are sharing the videos, who are helping others get through this, is why I say we, even though I'm a team of one. I'm really happy to have all of you a part of the Jaye Wellness Studio. I didn't really have a lot of time to connect like this very often, but I want to do this as much as possible. I feel like this is the best form of content for anybody, is to be able to relate to one another here. I just released some merch, a little feel-good merch about wellness that I hope some of you get a chance to check out. It's just really feel good. Took time to just sit there and design things out. So that'll be on the videos. You'll see them attached at the bottom. Feel like you want to support the channel, go right ahead. If not, totally cool. We're here to help heal people. We're not here to become famous. We're here to help people. We're here to get the message out. So that is really my little spiel today. I just also released and launched my website. It's a very short website, about 2 pages long. really basic. It's got tons of my recommended products on the front page, jaywellnessstudio.com. Check it out if you haven't. The link is also in the description. You'll see all the products that I've recommended, I've used, I've tested, I've tried. Some of them I own, some of them I don't own, but I've actually, through the companies, I've tried using the product before, and I've decided to re-gift some of those products to people. I do feel pretty great now, so I don't really need the products anymore. But check those out, jaywellnessstudio.com. That'd be a great thing for you all. But I just wanted to take a quick little moment and let you know some of the updates here with the Jaye Wellness Studio. We're growing every day. We're still a small channel, but I think over time we're going to keep growing and keep helping and keep getting the message out. So I hope this video was very helpful for all of you. If it was, take time to subscribe to my channel. I try to post at least every day. If not every day, then at least I won't let 2 or 3 days go by before I say something to you all, at least in the shorts form or the community tab. I hope you guys are enjoying the polls I'm throwing out there for you. So if there's any suggestions or anything you want to throw out there that I could do better, or anything I can implement better, I try to make different pieces of content resonate with all of you, with sound therapy, with just some instructional massages, different types of videos to try out, motivation content, little things that can help everybody. So a one-stop shop. So alrighty folks, I will talk to you all soon. I'm gonna go ahead now and step out of the Jaye Wellness Studio and leave you in good hands with this video. So I will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.